The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
And that is how the Rule of the Galaxy podcast starts this evening. You welcome to the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. I should say, hey, Star Wars fans, and hey, Rule of the Galaxy fans. Welcome to chapter 243 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. Alfie, real quick, the line you just hit is from, what is that from again?
Anchorman.
Anchorman. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, that's right, folks. You come to the Rule of the Galaxy, you get not only our typical Star Wars comments, but you get all kinds of media-related pop culture comments going on here. It is Joe with my usual cohorts, D-Doc and Alfie. We're going to see if Brent shows up, but Brent's being D-Doc today and running late. And I'm supposed to do trivia with him tomorrow night. And if he's going to be late for that as well, so that's just becoming a trend for Brent.
Oh wait, I see a guy shaking his head down low there. Hold on, there he is. Better late than never, right?
Dude, I've been sitting at the computer for a good 15. Then I was trying, because I listened to the podcast and I was quiet, so I was trying to adjust the mic to try to see if I could pull it up a little bit, because I mean, when you're using your computer and you normally use your phone. So come at me, bro.
Don't at me, Brent. Don't at me. Okay. Well, we actually discussed it. We actually discussed it, Brent. We said with you being a few minutes late, we were going to razz you just because we love you. That's all. So,
well, the worst part is I was actually on time, but I thought my computer had a virus and I could not get it going. And the reason being is because I redid some stuff in my basement, and I'm an idiot. And really, I started hitting breakers, and I think that messed with my computer because I did hit the breaker that it was on. And yeah, I don't know. If you're trying to hack me, don't try to do it.
No,
You're
that's
listening
nice.
right now.
Hey, so I'm just going to throw this out there, you guys. While Brent's showing off his Star Wars Ion Cannon.
Oh, we actually are live. Okay, I thought
Yeah.
We are live.
What planet is that supposed to be? It kind of looks like Celeste from the Battlefront game.
So the intent is this is the nipple gun from Hoth.
The ion cannon. Yeah.
The nipple gun. I mean, thank you, Family Guy. But so the rest of the terrain, if I would turn around and show you the terrain setup, is
Look
all
at that.
Hoth-based inspired. I don't have a snow mat, but it's for somebody, and hopefully they have a snowy.
If you are not joining us on YouTube, and for those of you who listen to us on the podcast, which we do, thank you very much. We've got a good constant amount of listeners. We appreciate you. But the YouTube, you get a little bit more. You get to see the depth of Brent's Star Wars Legion game and everything else, which is always fun to bring to the table. So, hey, guys, real quick before we start into chapter 243 of Rule of the Galaxy, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit here. I've been really working my tail off. And you know, we've got Joe's top 10 movies, top 10 Jedi, top 10 Sith, top 10 overall characters, Joe's top 10 droids, top 10 bounty hunters, Marvel comics, Marvel characters, canon books, Legends books, all on YouTube. So those of you watching us on YouTube, you can go watch all those fun little snippets. They're like 5 minutes or less, with us talking, with me telling my top 10 list. And hey, speaking of people joining us, Dr. Squatch, always great to have you. Oh,
Jack Harvey.
Jack, so glad to hear from you as well, Jack. I know my daughter was doing some work for you today at the new crib, so glad you could join us, and hope to see you very soon. But thanks for both of you guys. But if anybody wants to check out the plethora of things we now have on YouTube, go check those out. I have a feeling that Alfie, D-Doc, and Brent will be joining this work that I've been doing and bringing some videos to the table, so I can edit those and put those together for us and have those on our YouTube channel. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great little project. I'm really excited. And we, you know, not only do we have other good things going on with the podcast, which we'll talk about in a minute, but YouTube's been really going well. So thanks, guys, and look forward to hearing yours and putting that together. But you know what? I'm going to start and go around the table because I'm seeing Brent tomorrow. I saw Alfie tonight. D-Doc, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. You might notice a different background for me tonight because I do not have the Darth Maul there, and I have that Disney.
The castle's
Disney
done.
Castle. The castle is done. 31 inches tall, man. I spent a lot of late nights building that freaking thing. I mean, you can see the size of it. It fit perfectly in there. I don't know though, because I just love this thing. And it's like, it was very difficult to get that castle into there. And it turned into me installing new outlets and putting a new shelf in and putting on Star Wars Episode 1 while I was doing it. And by the time they were fighting Darth Maul, I was like, what time is it right now? But yeah, the castle's in. I got to find a new place for the Maul picture because I feel like that was kind of like my signature background for this podcast. But I feel like my greatest Lego accomplishment I've ever built needs to be in the middle of the shelf. So it's there.
I love it. I say keep it rocking. We'll find another place for Darth Maul. Maybe Maul can fit over by the Star Destroyer in the corner there. Seems like there's a good little area with some blank behind it.
I know. So, maybe I just might have to lose the Death Star walls and start adding some more shelves. No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
Come on. That's part of the fun is constantly changing it. I still haven't done my room.
I added more shelves over here. That's what I was doing to make room for the Disney Castle. So now all those Legos are over there. There's the drum set.
There's the drum set. Is that okay? That's Rex. It looked like it was a Shore Trooper, and I didn't think there was a Shore Trooper mask. That's Rex, though, right?
Yeah. So I told my wife, I was like, I need more shelves. Like, I need to figure something out down there. And she's like, maybe it's time to slow down a little bit with the Legos.
You know, D-Doc, you mentioned it.
Like, I don't know.
Isn't some of the best times like when everybody goes to sleep and you just go for like 2 or 3 hours doing a project or studying something or researching something, and that time when you do look around and go, oh crap, it's 2:30 in the morning. I don't even realize that I've been doing it. Brent, I know you've got to do that from time to time with the Legion there.
I am a night owl, and I really like at this moment my son is attached to me and you can't tell him no. So I have to wait for him to go to bed, and then I'm cool and usually starts up about 10. But yeah, I'm painting something. And I think I'm only taking 10, 15 minutes. And I look down and it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. Yeah.
That's when my mind works the best for me. So
Alfie, you can't really do that because you're getting ready to go to work at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. I'm still in pretty much a night owl, but it's very hard for me with having to get up that early a lot.
Yeah. It's just something. I don't know what it is, guys, especially once you're married, you have kids, all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is kind of like my inner sanctum here, my little private space and time. And it's like time doesn't really exist when you're doing all these things anyway, whether it's you're reading, listening to a podcast, listening to an audiobook, working on a project. That's some great time right there. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. I started with D-Doc. Alfie, went and saw a basketball game tonight with you, your daughter's basketball game. That was great. Thanks for inviting me. How are you doing?
No problem. Well, we're doing great. Our usual mad rush here at 9 o'clock at night. Got a lot of stuff going on in the house, and it's kind of crazy, but that's the way we like it.
Hey, for those of you who are audio listeners and not checking out the video, if you're watching the video, you can see Alfie's dropped like 20 pounds. We were talking about it tonight. All just diet changes, all just kind of rehashing, getting rid of some things, bringing in some things, all that. Really proud of you, man. I am.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Keep that going. It's good. You know, with having a 5-year-old, you're going to need to drop that 20 pounds because you're going to be going for a while here.
We had to wait. Or we had to watch the 8th grade game. You guys left after the 7th grade. So we ran outside for probably another hour and a half after you left. Yeah.
She is full of energy right there.
Absolutely.
Hey, Dr. Squatch says this is the exact time I've got right now. Everyone's asleep and I'm enjoying the podcast. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Squatch. We appreciate that. And see, even Jack's giving you a shout out.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that.
You've lost 20 pounds, Alfie?
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome, man.
Well, thanks.
I just started dieting because the Eagles lost. That's my new year. So
I started probably around November, I think.
Dude, that's awesome. That really hypes me up. I'm happy for you, man. Keep it going. That's awesome.
It hasn't been too bad. I'm not a big fan of sugar-free stuff, but that's been the big thing is giving up sugar and soft drinks, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have its rewards. I can tell you, it will. Brent, you and I are going to hang tomorrow night. So, are we all prepped for trivia? How's everything going with you?
Oh, I mean, I sent you a message. I think we're good for this week. It's trying to get ready for the next couple. I thought I was good and ready to go, and then I looked at all of them, put out. Yeah, we got 2 or 3 lined up that I need to write some questions for. I just now cracked the book open and starting to put some stuff together from your book. But yeah, trivia. Let's see. Let's see if we can ask one quick one.
Go ahead.
Let's see if I can pull one from. All right, so this is one.
All listeners who are on with us right now, feel free to answer this in the chat. We'd love to get your answers as well.
Right. So let's go with this one. It was a painful expletive night there, dog. Oh God, I didn't know the pain I was in. I didn't know how bad that mistake was. Is a direct quote from what host after mistakenly announcing the wrong winner of the 2015 Miss Universe contest?
Steve Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Good work. All right, then another one would be with over 88 Grammy nominations. With over 88 Grammy nominations, this singer holds the record for most nominations.
I'm going to say Taylor Swift.
It is not Swiftie.
Did you say if it was male or female in the question?
Did not say no. I said with over 88 nominations, this singer holds the record.
Michael Jackson.
Nope.
Elton John.
Let's see if anybody's thrown anything up in the chat yet. I saw Squatch came in with Steve. Squatch is my man.
You got it.
Yeah,
Squatch is hitting both.
Right, got both of them. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are just a couple pop culture ones. We got some trivia, got some Christmas stuff, but it's one of my favorite things to do. If I wouldn't say like Star Wars would be probably number 1, and trivia is probably a close second. Adele is a good choice, but I don't think she's been around long enough to get 88 nominations.
Well, I've got one for you, and Brent, I sent this over to you.
Yeah.
Just we're making this trivia night real quick. There was a president born in the year 1790.
Oh, okay. I should probably change it to that.
1790. Okay. So just take into account when he was born there. I'm not telling you which president it was. He has a grandson alive today. A grandson, not a great. Yeah. A grandson alive
3rd generation.
Today. Yes. So he was born in 1790. I'll tell you real quick. He lived from 1790 to 1862. His son was born in 1853. So let's think about that. He was 63 years old when his son was born, and his son lived from 1853 to 1935, and had a son in 1928 who is still alive today.
He also had 15 kids too. It wasn't like
this president
wasn't shy about having children.
Nope.
We could call him the what's the quarterback? The Matt Stafford of the.
I was gonna say Drew Brees, or not Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. Yeah.
Oh, Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was Phillip Rivers who has like the 9 or 10 kids, but
maybe. Well, we could call this president the Nick Cannon of presidents.
Yeah.
There you go. That one too.
Yeah.
Is that when they installed all the insulated walls in the White House so you can't hear anything that's going on?
I think he predated the White House.
Actually, no, he was president.
No, he didn't. Okay.
Yeah, he was president once.
Oh no, because it's mad. Yeah. So it's past what?
Well, we probably don't have any Americans listening to us right now. We have people from overseas listening to us.
He is the 10th president, if that helps you.
Yep.
He was the 10th president and has a 3rd generation person alive. Yep. His grandson.
It is President John Tyler. Didn't have any answers on it. So he was president from 1841 to 1845. died in 1862. He was 71 when he fathered the last of his 15 children, and that son had a son that is still alive today. So think about that. That's kind of crazy. I have a grandson, so I'm 52. I have a grandson. Weird. Anyway, we've talked enough silliness and craziness. Let's get into the wars a little bit. Okay. Anything good going on in the Star Wars world for you guys besides D-Doc revamping his basement and Brent working on his Hoth ion cannon there? Anybody else do anything good or big related to Star Wars? D-Doc, I will tell you, I have your burnt Christmas in the Stars CD right there that I will be getting your address and getting that out to you. I know it's late, but for next Christmas, you and the kids will be rocking that thing. Absolutely. If you even have a CD player anymore.
So this is kind of tangential. There's a guy that plays a different game, and I had to teach him Legion this week since we had a really weird and cold week. I taught him a little bit of how to play Legion, and he's following the prescribed watch list of all of the everything live action at the moment. He hasn't quite gotten into the animated or cartoons. I will still call them cartoons. However, I did get a message from him a couple days after we played, and he's like, all right, so tell me about this Bo-Katan and Sabine relationship, because timelines are really wonky and I'm not quite understanding it. So, because he's watched Mando season 1, season 2, he watched Ahsoka, but I was like, have you watched Mando 3? He's in the middle of Mando 3 because that kind of explains a little bit of it, but it doesn't give like how Sabine gets the dark saber and why Sabine or Bo goes to ruin because of the way that the dark saber was handed over. So it's fun trying to explain those things to some people. It's cool to get people in, but it's always like, yeah, this one, buckle up, Buttercup. This is going to take longer than like one text message. So that was pretty cool.
Once you get into the minutia, it takes a while.
He also started listening to us. So Christian, if you're listening, shout out to you, and we appreciate you jumping into the fandom. Any level will do. On-ramps are everywhere. But I recommend the Rebels, not the Clone Wars. It's way too much in the Clone Wars.
He should get the contracted version of the Clone Wars that I've created and other people have. The necessity of Clone Wars, not the totality. So it's a little bit easier.
What do you mean? You need the droids with the little guy running the whatever his name is. What's the little guy's name?
Gascon.
There you go. That guy.
What's his first name, Alfie?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that little frog guy.
Come on.
I'll
look it up.
I'm sure Squatch or somebody's listening is going to throw it at us. But
is it like a frog with like skinny legs and like weird eyes?
He's like
like Spock eyes.
Yeah, he's like the inch-high Private Eye. Like
he was probably in Jedi Survivor, because there was a little frog in Jedi Survivor that you dealt with at one point who was getting kicked out of a bar. So it could have been him.
And I think, if I remember correctly, there's one in The Last Jedi during the Canto Bight scenes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. I want to say it was like Beavar Gascon or something like that.
Yeah. That's in the weeds. We don't need to like bog ourselves down because that's how insignificant that character is.
I think that list, Joe, you're right, is pretty good. That'll get you up to speed on the whole history of the canon history of Mandalore, Bo-Katan, Sabine.
I agree. I have not purchased much or anything like that of Star Wars recently. I will say I've started back into listening to the Bane. Yes, Gascon is correct. There we go. Thank you, Dr. Squatch. But I've started back to the Bane trilogy again by Drew Karpyshyn.
Did he look anything like this?
No,
it's way smaller. He's only like 6 inches tall.
Okay,
it's like a Smurf.
So that's a different frog.
But I tell you what, the Bane trilogy is just so good. If you have not read it, if you've not listened to it, just fantastic Star Wars right there. And I know as of today, those books are not canon, but man, they are good. And that character is great. And you know me, I'm not a bad guy character. I like the good guys. But Bane, absolutely fantastic books. So go check those out. That's what I've been doing recently. Besides just working all the time and spending time with grandkids. D-Doc, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, really not this previous week. We've had some snow, and I mean, you always do kind of reconnect with your stuff that you have when you're reorganizing shelves. So I had a hard time moving some of the Black Series figures that I had behind me over to the shelf by my TV, but I did snag Palpatine from Ollie's recently. I think I got him about 2 weeks ago. I think I told you guys that right after Christmas. Got this guy for $6. So you can't beat that. I'm still on that Ollie's hunt, but you know, Black Series is kind of, I'm seeing some stuff on the shelves. It's kind of pulling me in a little bit more. I'm always searching. I saw that Bo-Katan light up figure. That looks pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen that in the store yet.
Yep.
I think it's an interesting concept. Oh yeah, there you go.
There he is. Meeber Gascon. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I now that they've changed the packaging back, I'm kind of like getting pulled in a little bit again. You know, that Bo-Katan is $27, and it comes with a light up base. It's a special figure. I know $27.
About the hologram one?
Yeah, but to me, if you're coming out with special figures like that one at $27, then like maybe I could start to get down with that a little bit with the light up LED base. I would like to see other characters done in that hologram.
I think there's 4 of them right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Anakin or like Clone Wars Anakin or Clone Wars Obi-Wan, because like how often they would communicate that way with each other. Like that would be incredible.
You're more likely to get like a Cody. You're more likely to get a Cody or a Rex before you get those 2 guys.
Yeah. Hey, I would buy those at $27. If they had Cody or Rex in store, I would buy that. I got to admit it. But my Black Series selection, what I've noticed, it's not what it used to be. They're just on the shelves now. So like, it's not just us. I think other collectors, where these things would be empty all the time, other collectors. Mace Windu has chimed in here.
Well, because Anakin Skywalker said greetings, Jedi Arts, and Mace Windu came and put him in his place.
Anakin and Mace going to town in the chat.
Got some battles going on. This is like 2 weeks in a row. We got battles in the chat between Anakin and Luke Skywalker's father. That was a good one too.
I love it.
And Hyperspace Heroes, Brown Leader, I think, is here, and thanks to him, I was just checking them out live before we hopped on. They were going live on YouTube and Twitter. So thanks for hopping in here. Appreciate it. So
okay,
like Thursday night's the go-to night. Go ahead, Alfie.
So as of right now, there's a Han Solo, a Mando, Ahsoka, and Bo-Katan.
All in the hologram looking thing.
Yeah,
and they're in circulation.
Yes.
That's such a circulation in the wild. You're funny, D-Doc. I'm sure there's somewhere. They're in some storage locker somewhere.
Well, now I'm full of crap because I'm like, yeah, they're not there. You know, these guys probably freaking got there and we're like, oh, they probably bought up the Mando ones and everything. They're freaking laughing their asses off at me. Those Target guys that I got to compete with, man.
Yeah, I've only seen the Bo-Katan at Target. I have not seen them anywhere else.
It's probably like a Walgreens or like, I don't know, a Jiffy Lube exclusive.
Get an oil change. Get a Han Solo hologram. Oh, gosh.
I mean, I feel like that's what it comes down to. Anyways.
Hey, Scruffy, you entered the chat. Nice to hear from you, Scruffy. We appreciate you. Hey, I want to give a shout out to, well, first of all, shout out to all the people who have been commenting on the YouTube videos. That's been great. There's been some really great comments. Heck, some people have written like books with feedback on those. So thank you.
The droid feedback was fantastic that you shared with us. It was like a full-on novel. It wasn't just the droid. It was a good paragraph and a half of explanation for why that said droid, which was awesome.
Nope. I agree. And also want to give a shout out to Adam Parker, who usually is with us here in the chat, but I know we threw this together late. He told us in a text or Twitter message, whatever, to check out For All Mankind, which I had not been watching. And I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of that and on Apple TV. Fantastic. Really, really, it's like a what if of the NASA Soviet program.
What if the Soviets got there first instead of the Americans, right?
Yeah, it's really, really good. And since I was on Apple TV, I got my wife and I watching Slow Horses, which I had not caught on to yet. But if you want a great show, Slow Horses, it's an MI5 show in London, and Sirius Black, Gary Oldman. He's one of the main characters. Absolutely, probably the best thing I've seen him perform in. He's fantastic. He steals every scene he's in.
Dude's fantastic. Dude's a fantastic actor. I don't know if this is the best he's ever been in. There's some other stuff that's.
Yeah, his Churchill movie is very good.
That's what I'm getting at, right? Like, didn't he win the award for that, or you
I haven't
nominated?
Seen that, so I have to go check that out as well. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there while we were giving shout outs and everything. Hey, we're playing catch up a little bit because it's been a few weeks since we've all been together. Did anybody watch the college football championship game? Because how great was John Williams doing the score before that game leading up to it? And they showed him putting it all together with the orchestra and everything. Fantastic. It got me pumped to watch the game. Just listen to John Williams music right there. Did you check that out, Alfie?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, got me ready to go.
I did not see the John Williams. I tuned in for parts of the game, but did not see that. That's freaking awesome. I'm gonna have to go back and find that video.
Oh yeah, it was really, really great. You know me, I'm always digging in the weeds, man, trying to find little Star Wars connectivity here. So
yeah, going back to like 1994 and the people going crazy over the music for the Olympics that he did.
See, there we go. Fantastic. I know we've probably all seen it, but we haven't really talked about it. How cute was it? Mark Hamill and Natalie Portman finally meeting, and he came up to her and said he finally got to meet his mom. That was so cute. Plus Natalie Portman, anything she's in, that's worthwhile already right there. So
I just watched a movie for the first time with Natalie Portman in it. I watched Heat for the first time.
Oh,
wow.
Which is
a very young Natalie Portman in it.
Yes. And I kind of actually texted my brother after I finally watched it and said, kind of, what was the purpose of what was going on with her in that? Because for a while I expected her dad to be De Niro when you got Pacino investigating this guy, and then like I thought he was going to see her because it was always about her dad and everything, and I don't know. It takes a dark turn with her character, I'll say.
Yeah, I think it was more, he kind of had to make a decision. Does he keep following De Niro, or did he go look for her? And once he got her to the hospital, he was right back on the trail of trying to find, De Niro before he escaped.
It's a good one. It's a good movie.
That's a great movie.
Ultimate dudes movie. That's what I'll say. That's a movie for the boys right there. Heat.
See, we are not only a Star Wars show, we are bringing the heat.
That was really good.
See, I thought Joe was going to start singing. It was the heat of the moment. We can get a little singing.
Come on, baby. Love it. D-Dot singing tonight.
Oh, this hurts. This hurts, boys.
Hey, sometimes love hurts, Brent. It hurts.
Oh Lord. Can we move? There was a segue back there before you started talking about heat, and there was a segue into something that was current Star Wars.
So we were talking about Natalie Portman, Mark Hamill, them beating up. Yes, that's where we were going. But
I'm talking even before you started that transition, there was a segue to something that I can't remember. We were talking about something. There was a perfect segue.
Go ahead. Trains down the tracks now, man.
It really is.
That station got left way behind. Hey, I'll throw this out, and then I'm going to talk about a few future guests here real quick. Speaking of characters in Heat, they weren't sure where they were going with that Natalie Portman thing. Did you guys see today and see that on Fallon, Jodie Foster came out and said she had the opportunity to play Princess Leia. That was kind of offered to her, but she was only 13 at the time, and Lucas did want a younger person to play the princess, and she was already under contract for a Disney movie and didn't want to hop out of the contract, so she did not take Princess Leia. How crazy would the timeline be? The love stories, the interactions, there wouldn't be any twins, I can tell you that, unless they hired a younger actor than Mark Hamill to play Luke, which wasn't the plan at the time. So how crazy would the timeline been if Jodie Foster would have jumped into that? Crazy, right?
Absolutely.
It's a different movie. It's a different series of movies.
100%. She probably would have killed it, though. I mean, let's face it. Has there been much that Jodie Foster has done that hasn't been great? Oh, here we go. Flashback.
Had to show that picture because I didn't see it. I missed that. So
really,
that's awesome. Yeah, I did not see it.
Hey, and look at this. Now that I can share some of the tools from this with D-Doc, Hyperspace Heroes, Brown Leader, you are right. It kind of would have been like Phantom Menace if it would have been the flip. Instead of Anakin being the younger and Padme being the older, could have been Jodie Foster being the younger one of the group like that. Could have been interesting like that. I don't know. Just thought it was cool. So yes, Brent, I'm sorry, but I'm doing shotgun scatter on this show. It's just a little bit everywhere.
You're fine.
I know.
I can't remember what the segue was, but I was going to try to do it, but you went on your rail. So.
See, it's like it's what I bring to the table, and what also throws us off is I'm like the dog in Up when he just randomly goes squirrel. Because I'll hear one thing and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I watched Heat the other day, and then we start trailing off.
It's not your fault.
It's my fault. It's because I talked about
joking.
Slow Horses and For All Mankind. Thank you again.
No, that's exactly what it is. You brought it back to my segue.
Okay, there we go.
You brought it back to my segue.
Go.
You said For All Mankind is a what if the Russians landed instead of the Americans on the moon. Isn't there news that they're going to run a what if for Star Wars in some sort of a cartoon fashion?
Yes.
Kind of.
Wasn't there news that we haven't talked about a what if in the Star Wars world? Was it comic book related? Was it like, what are some of the details of that what if? That was the segue that I was looking
for. Yeah, there was some news that came out the other day that there were developing a animated what if series like the Marvel series.
So it's being developed. It's being developed kind of like the Rey movie is being developed.
Kind of, yeah. That's where I would put it for right now. Because like I said when we were talking about it in the group chat, all the good what ifs have already been done. So why do them again?
But not everybody. So you're saying all the good what ifs have been done, and I'm not arguing that. But out of all the good what ifs that have been done, how many eyes have been upon those what ifs? And in what way?
And I get your point there too, but you're also, why go back and start this over again and just have people say, why can't you make something new? Why did you have to rip off what's already been done before? This has been available for 20 years for you to buy and not.
We got another.
I mean, I get that not everybody reads comic books, but.
And that's what I'm coming at. Like, right? Like, you're going to talk to me, right? You're going to talk to, I'm a visual guy. There's a lot of casual people that do have Disney Plus, right? And
yes. And I
that's
get
besides
that.
the point, but you're going to hit a whole new audience. And I do like, I like what the Marvel is doing with what ifs, because it isn't just, it's smaller stories too, right? So the what ifs that I know of, and I haven't read them, and I know that you have, and that's kind of why I'm leaning on you, but the what ifs, the small what ifs would be cool to kind of take and make a riff of.
Right. But again, there was also a Marvel comic book line called What If.
But how many were there?
My point is that I have not seen any of the animated ones using those same ideas.
Wasn't it called Star Wars Infinities?
Star Wars Infinities. Yes.
But it was just based upon the three original trilogy stories, right? Like it was
right.
It was a complete retelling of the three original stories. Since those have been made, you have 8 other movies that have been made, 2 animated series, 4 live action shows with 3 more that are on the way. There are more stories available to play the what if game on.
I completely understand that, and I agree with you 100%. But like we keep saying, new ideas are hard, and you're going to try to hit the low-hanging, easy fruit. And the 4 are going to be 3 of them have already been done, and the 4th one is going to be what if Anakin defeated Obi-Wan, or what if Anakin didn't turn? Okay, I mean, I would really like a really cool what if series, but I'm not very hopeful that you wouldn't just tread over what's already been done. I think, yes, there could be some really cool what ifs. I would agree with you there.
I think Alfie hit the nail on the head, and here it is. The what if series is the easy way for Lucasfilm and Disney to make new products without wrecking anything in the real universe they've created. They could say, well, this is we had this idea, which most people have had for the past 30 or 40 years. What if this happened? And guess what? We could make this new product, these new lines, maybe some new toys in the future about it. And guess what? It doesn't mess up anything we've done. And here it is. And I think it's easier.
Let's just set the world on fire in episode 1 of What If is, what if Luke Skywalker didn't die on Crate? Or, what if he actually showed up on Crate and didn't die? And then we can watch the internet meltdown for, the end of times.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's easy. Like Albie has said, it's hard to do new things. It's hard to make good new product. So why go out and really work at making new product when you can just take the old product and rehash it and just add some wrinkles into it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a new idea. It's a new take on that idea, right? They went and wrote 3 novels now, and they're with like 40 vignettes in them, called A Certain Point of View, that all had different stories and different takes on the same stories. One of our favorite books, Joe, I think one of your favorite books is The Lost Stars, which is it's a young adult novel, but it's told through the timeline of the original trilogy in a completely different timeline and a completely different set of characters. Those are the stories that I think people are going to look for. I do agree that with Hyperspace Heroes, even though I'm talking about this and it'd be good, I do think that people will argue about it because it doesn't match their headcanon.
Yeah, because people are arguing about those from a different point of view novels. Even Lucasfilm is waffling on, is this canon, is it not canon? And it just adds fuel to the fire.
And this is where I come from, and this is where my fandom comes from. And I wouldn't put myself in that super fan. I don't care about what's canon. I care about cool stories. And I feel, there are canon lawyers. There are people that are hardcore stuck on that. But for me, I just want cool stories, bro.
Right. But we're also doing a weekly Star Wars podcast.
I know. No, I get you. And we're talking people. We're talking to the people in the chat.
So we can
that aren't hardcore,
not that invested in it, but we are to a degree. And I'm with you 100%. I don't really give a crap anymore, but just make something cool.
Make something that's entertaining. Make something that's going to make me think. It doesn't have to be. My greatest anger and pet peeve with all fandoms, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, is when they start, well, this is canon. Well, canonically speaking, actually, like it just sounds so nerdy when you start bringing up the canon talk and whether this is canon and this needs to be canon or that needs to be canon. It's a story. They're all stories. They all
I just
have
wish
an
I could change. I wish I could make some of the stuff that happened in my life canon and not canon.
Right? Right? I didn't lose that job. That's not canon anymore.
No, that's not canon. That's Legends. That's expanded. That's expanded, Joe.
That's expanded universe Dykeman. Right. Fantastic.
Oh gosh. Oh man, fantastic is right. Look, more Star Wars has usually been better. It's been good to have more Star Wars. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know
It
where
doesn't
it's going to go.
It's off half the people anyway, so just do it.
Yeah. Yep. So to go along with that, related to it kind of, have you guys seen this thing called Star Wars Timeline Twist? It is a card game that will be coming out soon, and you're going to take the cards and they're going to be characters and at certain, they're going to look a certain way, whatever. D-Doc, if you want to find it somewhere, Star Wars Timeline Twist, and you have to put them in chronological order. There's like you discussed earlier,
Bullcrap.
Brent.
That's bullcrap. Telling you, like how they're so.
Well, if they're smart, they'll start
jumbled
making some of them. They'll start making some of them chrome. They'll make some of them, like special collectors. But it's a card game. So
so here's the deal. So I don't know if that card game's going to fly, but there's another one that's coming out from a reputable card game and game making company. Fantasy Flight Games is making one called Star Wars Unlimited. So Star Wars Unlimited is essentially going to be, I will call it Magic the Gathering. So for people that don't have an idea, yeah. So D-Doc, try and find the Star Wars Unlimited stuff too, because I'll call it Magic the Gathering because it's a card game. They are collectible cards, so they're going to put like foils and I think they call them hyperspace and so many per pack, and you're going to buy packs and boosters to try to get your deck together. But essentially what you're going to have is you're going to have one leader. You could have Palpatine, or you could have Vader, you could have Luke. That's going to be the leader of your army. You have a base that you're playing with, so they're going to try to attack your base, and once they destroy your base, you're done. But you have an area where you can battle on ground, and you can have an area where you battle on land. So you could play like a ground-based thing, like the ion cannon that takes shots to your space and kills off their space stuff. There are certain things that you can do, but it's called Star Wars Unlimited. It's going to launch in March. They've been doing like demos. They did demos at the big wargaming conventions. Gen Con, they did some demos with it. My local store is going to be doing a demo day this coming Saturday. So yeah, they have put like people are crazy about this game already, and it hasn't even been released. They've released like 40 of the cards, so you can go on like Tabletop Simulator, and you can play the game against each other because they've already released some of the cards. But yeah, you make up a deck of lands and air battles, and then upgrades, and so you can buff certain things, and you can do different things. And so each thing has an attack value, has a health meter. You have to pay resources to play it. That's why I say it's like Magic. If anybody plays Magic the Gathering,
interesting.
And those two cards right there that are on the screen. Hold there for a second, D-Doc. Those two cards are like the promos that you get if you win X event at Gen Con. So they might have run 10 events at Gen Con. PAX Unlimited, which is another mini wargaming convention. There's one in Chicago called Adepticon, but they've been demoing this all over the place. You win those. People are already selling those for like $40 and $50 a piece for those cards. Right. So it's Star Wars, it's collectible cards. It's a pretty intricate attack system. So if anybody's into like card games, Star Wars Unlimited, I'm going to drop that commercial for them.
Well, you know who's huge into cards? Jack Harvey. And even though these are game cards, if they're collectible,
there's a collectible aspect to it.
Yeah. So I'll hop into another topic real quick besides cards. One, right now, it looks like our guest next week is going to be the lovely, talented actress, singer, voice actor, Nika Futterman. This person is the voice of one of my favorite characters, Asajj Ventress, in the Clone Wars and in games and in other places where she's, played that role. Very excited about it. If you listen to the show and you have questions you want us to ask Nika for that time frame, send them our way. We'd love to ask her those questions. Very excited. We've been really blessed to have some great guests on the show, and to get somebody like this who, is a really cool character and brings a lot to the table. I'm really excited because she was the "Give It to Me, Baby" voice in Pretty Fly for a White Guy. Believe it or not, that is one of her credits right there. So really kind of interested in all the different things. She's been Helga G. Pataki from Hey Arnold. She's been in The Loud House, been in some DC and Marvel things. So really, really cool to see where this goes. So that's one. John Jackson Miller, great author who's been a guest on the show about the Kenobi book. He is ready, and we're going to get that lined up right before or right when his new book comes out, The Living Force. That'll be at the beginning of April, end of March, sometime like that. So we're really excited about that. A lot of our regular guests have already said they're back in. They'll be coming in and doing a show with us. So excited to add all those to the list as we go along. But was really pumped about those two. One, because of the new book, and then two, just because it's a size of interest. So I wanted to throw that out there before we got into some other topics. So we'll be adding those into. We'll be putting those out there into the interwebs once we get some more people locked up. But it looks like right now, like I said, Nika Futterman will be our guest next week. So I'm kind of really pumped about that. You guys, I know in our chat we were talking about it. You guys pretty jazzed about that character coming on?
Oh yeah, I love that character. That's a great one.
You don't know how big of a Hey Arnold fan I was when I was a kid.
Football head.
Like, I used to watch that show every day. Like, seriously, every day. So she's done a lot of cool stuff. And I mean, she does Cuckoo Loca. I mean, you should know that, Brent, from the I know it's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but that's within that universe. Cuckoo Loca has a very funny voice.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is the only thing my son watches.
Yeah.
Do I need to go into this, Joe? Into this, Joe?
No.
Oh, I know. I
That's
remember
the only thing. However, once we found out that he does have some hearing loss, the volume has gone down. So I haven't. I don't listen to it, but he watches it. He still watches it.
Hey, if it makes him happy, man.
Yes.
I gotta say one thing just real quick, because Brent was right about what he was talking about earlier, because I've been trying to find these Holocom Black Series figures, and he was right that they are spread out throughout the stores. Han Solo.
That's the way they do things, guys.
He's at Entertainment Earth.
Why it's so hard to collect everything for the people that. So the people that are completionists, this is what they've done to try to make money at Hasbro. What they've done to, one, increase the likability of the item to make it rare. They have created exclusive offers. Now, I don't fault like Walgreens. Walgreens will say, yes, give me an exclusive offer, because there might be some random toy hunter that comes into my store that will buy impulse items when they're there. That's why some stores buy into that. That's why it's so hard to be a toy hunter completionist, because of all of those exclusive offers to everybody. And then distribution and all the other stuff is just jacked up.
Hey, it's just like the NFL going to the game on Peacock. I've been telling people for probably 20 years, the NFL will be its own streaming service with no availability anywhere else sooner than later. You'll have to pay X amount of hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, to be able to see every NFL game, and it'll be their puppy. I've heard that they're already talking to ESPN about buying ESPN, which would give them all the cameras, all the people they need to cover all these things, which means NFL Network was just the start, streaming on Peacock was just the start, and now it's going to be, hey guys, guess what? NBC, Fox, ABC, you're gone. So Brent, I get you 100% on these toys, and they're toys. I don't think I can live without the NFL, but
I don't know. I don't know if the TV industry can go quite that cold turkey just yet, only because I have YouTube television and they kept trying to sell the DirecTV package to people at a discounted price all throughout the season, because I don't think they got as many people buying into it as they had in the past.
They'll do like baseball did. Baseball Forever got the game of the week on NBC or ABC. One game, you get a national cover game, and then boom, the rest of it's on. Think about it. How many Major League Baseball games are on throughout the week? not on
True,
national
but
TV.
how many national games do we have on? How many games do we have in our area? So in our area, we are lucky to have a Colts game, and then the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. Those are
And
the
Thursday
only
night
games
game.
that. Well, you're not getting that on national TV. You have to buy Amazon Prime. Like you're not getting that nationally. I'm talking like for our area, if you are a non-cable producer, you have 3 games that you get. That's all you get. And if it's a Colts game that's on a Monday night, sometimes the local stations buy out the ESPN rights and play it on their local stations.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was a local radio conversation about football and how pretty much they were saying like they won't be surprised if the Super Bowl becomes a pay-per-view event.
Yes.
But the host who was talking about it also said he was like there was a time when boxing was the biggest thing, and then they started to restrict it to pay-per-view and everything, and then it just started to go down. I mean, I couldn't live without football, but to me, that's when you are becoming way too greedy of a bastard if you're going to do that, dude. Because
these Ezra is then.
Yeah.
To string this back into the discussion of like Star Wars, which is fine because this all is what's looming ahead of Star Wars, what's looming ahead of Disney and Disney Plus. Right now, all of the different streaming services are cannibalizing each other and they're joining together to make the conglomerates to make them work. So streaming in and of itself is starting to not be as the vision that everybody saw it to be.
Eventually, we're just going to get cable again.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's going to be streaming, and it's going to be the same thing as cable. You're going to
essentially that's what they're doing with each other. Like YouTube TV is cable. It's just through this device and Hulu TV. But like I think Paramount's bridging with Max is like everything is coming together to try to beat like so you have Netflix, you have Disney Plus, and then I think you have HBO Max, which is making itself like the biggest competitor by eating up everything else.
You can get Amazon now is advertising every streaming service for $5.
Mm-hmm.
Pay for Amazon and then $5 more. You can get Max and you can get this and you can get, and then it's just cable again.
And then same thing. You get the same thing through YouTube TV. You get the same thing through everybody else. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No. I was gonna say I went to go look to see if I made a switch from AT&T to Verizon the other day, just to see like on my family plan. And they were like, "Oh, by the way, if you switch everybody over to Verizon right now, for $5 you get Disney, for $5 you get Amazon Prime, for $5 you get Hulu." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, now I've got to get the phones to be able to get this over." It was just
that's how I get my Disney Plus through Verizon. I got Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu through Verizon.
They all suck. I enjoy my. I'll enjoy my couple years that I felt like I was winning, and now I'm back to regular. You know, I remember when I got Sling when it came out, and I'm like, we're cutting the cord. I had Sling TV, and I was telling people, I'm like, my internet and technically my cable bill is like $80 a month. I'm like, I'm winning right now, and
it's back to where it was.
Yeah, and then all of them went into the big, room with the big round table and said, like, all right, these guys are doing this. Time for us to step into that world. But some people have really screwed up entering that world as well, though, where they've, kind of lost their ass doing it. So,
I mean, Disney Plus is like looking like they don't necessarily. I think they went in too hard, too fast. They knew that they were going to try. They knew they were operating at a loss for the first couple of years anyway, because I think you have to. But they expected it to continue, and then it stagnated. At least the way that I understand all the news media that I'm reading, it's the growth stagnated. And when the growth stagnated, then they got to rethink their life again, right? They got to go home and rethink their life.
Yeah. It's good. They spend so much on Hulu. Hulu is one of those apps where I look at it and I'm just like, I really don't need that. On top of everything else I have, I don't need Hulu.
Disney owns Hulu. Why don't you just bridge it into Disney Plus?
I don't have the combo package.
No, but why you have Disney Plus and Hulu?
Yeah, but with Hulu, by the time you actually start using it, and then you're like, oh, I hate the commercials. I'm gonna pay for this, and then I don't get this channel, so I'm gonna pay for that. And then I was like, well, this is just as expensive as DirecTV.
Yeah, it is.
So We've just talked about the ups and downs of cable versus streaming versus buying characters all over the place and watching NFL all over the place. Let's talk about another thing that's all over the place real quick. See, segues.
Hey,
we're getting there. We're getting there.
That's right. Let's talk about the new Jedi Order movie and the Rey movie. Here's in the past 2 weeks things that I've heard said about the movie. We don't have a script yet. It's been pushed along. It's going in a new direction. It's been delayed. It's been canceled. It's it's got fantastic new storylines. It's going new plot twists. No, it's actually further along than where we thought it was. These are all things that I've seen people write trying to promote this movie. So how does that make us feel about that movie?
Did you see the one that came out today? There was another article that came out today.
No. These are articles, Brent, not just you and me putting on the Twitter.
No.
Writing articles.
I'll say what I was say.
So you have 3 competing articles right now. Okay, I'll just make it real simple. All 3 citing anonymous sources at Lucasfilm. The first one said that the movie is being delayed, that Stephen Wright is nowhere near finishing a script, and probably won't be for a while because he's working on his Peaky Blinders movie. That's his main focus. That thought that he was working on it right away, that never happened. The strike happened, and now he's completely devoted to Peaky Blinders. Will they go another direction to get it moving along sooner? Nobody really knows. The second one was that no, everything's fine. They're anticipating the delays, blah, blah, blah. The third one that came out today says, actually, yeah, it's really far along. It's so great that the Deadpool 3 director, I tried to remember his name, but I couldn't remember. He's got a Star Wars movie after Deadpool 3 that he loves it so much that Rey's going to be in his movie. Rey's getting $12.5 million, or Daisy Ridley's getting $12.5 million for this film. They're offering similar packages to Oscar Isaacs and John Boyega, and it's all, rainbows and bags of gold, puppy dogs. Everyone's in love. Everything's going great. Does it mean anything? I'm not putting stock in any of it. I think this movie is in serious trouble, and that's why they pushed Mando and Grogu to the forefront.
Brent?
My statement is, you said they're promoting. I think they're promoting themselves, and they're promoting clicks, and they're promoting people and their articles. They are writing things to try to get, because they know that this fan base is on a fever pitch, and it will smell blood in the water and react like piranhas to the blood in the water. So they are just chumming the water and allowing the fan base to go nuts. That is all I feel like. I think I told you that last week that I don't think it's going to get made. It's just because, and it has nothing to do with the controversial comments or anything like that. It's just one of those things that it's hard to make movies. It's way too soon to talk about things. It's way too soon to invest any sort of effort or love into it. Wait for it to be filmed. Then we can talk about it. Until I hear that there's a set, until there are leaked photos of people in costume, then I don't believe it. I felt that way about the Obi-Wan Kenobi until they showed leaked footage. I felt that way about Acolyte until I saw the Wookiee Jedi. I still don't know if there's been any leaked footage of the Skeleton Crew. Alfie, you do more of the looking on that. There has been?
There has been. Yeah.
So at least those, and then I think during the Emmys, not Pedro Pascal, Andor, what's his name?
Diego Luna.
Diego Luna said that there's like 3 or 4 days left. I don't know. I read the headline. I
for
didn't
him.
Into the article.
Yeah, he has a few days left. There's about 2 weeks left for the rest of the crew.
And it's pretty much done, and they're getting to a point where they're getting ready to wrap as far as filming. But the fact that they're filming, right? The word filming, and he's got days left. Then I care, right? Now, if you tell me something about Andor, I'll get pissed and I'll invest a little bit of time. At this point, it is all speculation. And I'll tell you right now, with all the stuff about the Grogu, yeah, they put it out on the Today Show. I don't trust it until I know that they're actually behind the camera and until they're actually filming and they're actually doing the show. So that's the way that I feel about it. And I feel like all of this is just, they know people are going to consume it, so they're going to create it to create controversy to allow people to consume it.
I think the Mando and Grogu is pretty solid. I know from what I've read, even before the strike, there were sets built. There was, pretty heavy pre-production. Does that mean it's going to go into production anytime soon? I don't really know. And again, just like with the Rey movie, there was very conflicting reports coming out of, is there a season 4? Is there a movie in a season 4? Is season 4 being cannibalized into a movie? I don't really know. I agree with you 100% about it. I'm not going to buy anything until I see a trailer or I see some screenshots, some drone shots of people filming stuff.
Right.
But I've said from the beginning, since the announcement, that I thought a Mando movie would be first. I think it's a much safer bet. I say this all the time. We are a Rey family. We love Rey, but I do not think Rey is a character to make a tentpole for this next movie that needs to be a overwhelming success to continue this franchise.
I'm going to go to
Rey.
the things
Let me just say, as much as we love Rey in our house, in our family, I do not think Rey is near that level of carrying a film quite yet.
I think it's all dependent upon the story, personally. In my mind, I think she could, if the story is correct, if you go in the story. But
if you give it time for somebody to write a story, I agree. But like I said, new ideas are hard. And if you're just going to rip off the new Jedi Order and replace Luke with Rey, I think that's a really shitty move. And I don't think it's going to be as well received as you think it will be. I don't mean you personally. I mean, as far as
I will agree with you that it won't be received well by the generations of fans that love the new Jedi Order books. It will be received by fans because this is their first introduction to anything like this, because there are fans that are 14, 15, 16 years old that have never been exposed to that. So this is their first exposure into that. There are fans that were 6 years old when they went into Force Awakens, that this is the Star Wars that they saw. They don't know that, so they could see her doing and moving forward on that. Is it a smaller fan base? Yes, but is there still a fan base there? I think there's still a fan base there because of how many people consume all the other stuff.
I would agree with you to an extent. And again, this is always the 50,000, foot view of things. When the Last Jedi trailer came out and you saw Rey swinging the lightsaber, everyone, all the talk was, this is going to be amazing because it's going to be like The Empire Strikes Back. Luke is going to train her like Yoda trained her. So, yes, there is a small percentage of people that have no idea about the original trilogy or any of the additional supplemental stories of Luke becoming the Jedi Master. But there's always going to be a larger majority that does. Even if you never read any of the now Legends books, there was a belief at the end of Return of the Jedi that Luke was the Jedi Master and that he would reform the
a friend of mine who said, and I think he didn't read the books or use any of that, but he said that like Luke's character was changed in the fact that he stood for hope, he stood for peace, he stood for looking for the good in all people. And the Last Jedi Luke wasn't looking for the best in all people. He had changed. He had gone through it. So, and that's not even looking at it from superhero Luke and looking at what he did in the Jedi, that Jedi Order and all of that stuff, which I know nothing about. So I'm sitting here telling you, all I know about it is what you guys have told me about it.
Right, and that's a fair point. But I think for most people who have seen Star Wars, if you were to see those stories made, you would instantly connect with, oh yeah, this is probably should have been Luke Skywalker.
I like the segment of the show where D-Doc and I just sit back and become.
Well, there's been times where I've wanted to make a point, and I'm just like, I'm gonna let these guys go.
Yeah, I like it. I just like to see the back and forth.
Yeah, and I see both sides of it. I agree with you completely, Brent. But there's
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with your side either. Like, but because I can, but I want to argue, and this is where I come from. I want to argue for that fan, the newer fan, the fan that doesn't know that background, that doesn't have that headcanon.
That's why I feel a Mando and Grogu story is a better place to start, because with that there are no previous stories. It's pretty much a clean slate. But then again, you're gonna.
I would agree with you.
We keep talking about we're going to Heir to the Empire.
Right, and I would agree with you, except for Mando Season 2, the last episode of Mando Season 2. I would have agreed with you if that was done in a different way. I will sit here and tell you, because I'm saying that somebody's probably thinking that I'm poo-pooing the Mando Season 2, the end of it. You had to have it that way. There was no other way to do it. That was amazing, but that was the divider, basically. That became the divide. Like, Joe says that it was Mando's as unifier. I feel like Mando was a unifier up until that episode, and then all it did was re-splinter the fan base.
Yeah,
I think it unified a lot more than it splintered. Did it splinter? Yes. Did it splinter a very loud minority? Yes, but I think it unified a larger majority.
I mean, what was the problem with the sequel trilogy? They changed writers constantly. They changed the director. And he made a controversial movie that people didn't like, and it splintered Star Wars fans. So what are we going to do now? We're going to have writing problems, and we're going to have a director that people don't want to direct the movie. That's the winning formula for Disney right there, is to essentially do the same thing over again, because people didn't like The Last Jedi so much that they refused to go see the Han Solo movie. Like Star Wars, there are groups of Star Wars fans that will not show up if they don't like something that's going to happen, which they proved it with that Solo movie, which it didn't deserve that because it was two separate movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. How are you going to convince Oscar Isaac and these guys to to come back to this movie when you are having these guys are good actors though, and I will say this too, like, you know, Daisy Ridley's got a lot more acting experience now. You know, Daisy Ridley's done other movies and everything, and I think she would come into this being ready for what is going to happen. But it's like, hey, you know, it is going to happen, but people are up in arms about the director, and the writer you know, is writing another movie, and like this is kind of secondhand to what he's writing.
I think one of the big problems with this is, for the sequel trilogy is over and it's done, okay? But one of the issues that I see coming up that is going to be a tough one to tackle is the sequel trilogy really did not leave much in expanding a story. Because where do you go from here? Do you make the New Republic?
The Second Order?
You know, the original trilogy was believable because even with the limited amount of backstory that was given in the original trilogy, the rebellion was built up of former people from the Republic.
Yes.
Who were trying to do something, restore the Republic. It says it right in the opening crawl of the first movie, right? Who's left at the end of the sequel trilogy that has any experience or has a path forward to rebuilding anything? Princess Leia's gone. The entire New Republic is gone.
She's trained Poe how to be a leader.
And my point is, this is going to be a very hard thing to tackle when you're writing, because how do you, without just making the Rey story like so far removed from the core world that you don't have to deal with any of these things, without really bogging the movie down like the Phantom Menace did with trying to explain the state of the galaxy, how do you establish all of this in the first movie? I think if anything, that's one of the complaints about the Force or critiques of the Force Awakens is, most people had no idea what Hosnian Prime was, or what it was that the First Order destroyed.
I thought it was Coruscant.
Okay, the movie just moved forward so fast, you never had a chance to pick up on what really the state of the galaxy was. And for better or worse, that's just the direction they chose. Now you're going to jump even further when you have almost nothing to build off of except a few key characters that for most of the sequel trilogy were really backseat to, hey, this is the movie where our original trilogy character dies.
And I'll go back to something that you say all the time about when you first cracked open the Thrawn trilogy back in 91, 92 when it was first released. You said you started reading about this character named Thrawn, and you're like, oh my God, there can be somebody just as evil, just as sinister, just as calculating, but in a completely different way. And oh my God, here are the possibilities.
Right.
However, at the same time, he used some of the original trilogy characters so it helped ground you. What I'm getting at is at this moment, we can't anticipate it because we're so locked into our headcanons. Somebody could envision it. There is a story to be told there that could be made. I don't know. Again, I'm not sitting here telling you that I know how to make it. I don't have the story, but there is a way to tell that story. There is a way to bring that in, and you would have to ground it with the sequel trilogy characters. And to go back to something that I think it was FJ DeSanto says on other podcasts when he made his Transformers movie, his Transformer movies. He's like, they liked it, then they hated it, then you make the next one, and they liked the first one, but they hate the second one was terrible. So all you do is so the sequel trilogy is terrible. Like the original trilogy is fine. You make the prequel trilogy, people hate it. Then you make the sequel trilogy and people hate on the original, or now they like the prequel trilogy because they made the sequel trilogy. So if you just start, it'll become nostalgic eventually if you give it the time to write the stories, if you give it the 3 years. The problem is, and we're part of the problem because we're sitting here talking on a podcast, is that fans of Star Wars, and there's probably 100,000 podcasts out there, and probably 10,000 of them are Star Wars podcasts. We want information. We want information. We want information. We're part of the problem that keeps feeding and blowing things up. Because I talked to a coworker, another guy who's a big Star Wars fan, after the Emmys, and he said, "Hey, Andor's on its way." I was like, "Well, yeah, you also got Skeleton Crew and Acolyte," and he looked at me like I was crazy. He had absolutely no knowledge of those two shows. So, but he's a big Star Wars fan because he sat and talked to me every day after he watched Andor. We had half-hour-long discussions about Andor. I know he's a big Star Wars fan. He's also a reader of the books and stuff, but he had absolutely no, because he's not as plugged in as we are, but he had absolutely no idea about the Acolyte or Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm just saying also on the flip side, that's where I see problems because I don't think that people are allowed to be that creative. They're not given the time to be that creative.
And that's where I feel like you have to give them that time. And I also want to interject Hyperspace Heroes. If they start on Tatooine, so help me, Lord.
Wait a minute. What if we start on a desert planet that's not Tatooine?
Oh, like
but it
Jakku?
Looks enough.
With an orphan, right? Because that's exactly what hyperspace is like. You got to have an orphan on a desert planet. That's where we got to start. Then we can go to an ice world or a water world, either one. But we got to start.
We went to an ice world.
Yeah, we can go to a water world. The Gungans, demanded by the gods, it is.
I will say this. We talked about a lot of things. Some things that unite, some things that divide us. This one, I think we've discussed briefly, but who's not ready to be united reading or listening to the Billy D. Williams book, which comes out right around Valentine's Day? What have we here? I think I'm going to actually get a Colt 45 and I'm going to sit back, put the audiobook on. If he's narrating it, I'm seriously going to grab a Colt 45 and sit and listen to it. I mean,
goes down smooth every time.
I feel like that's the only way that book could be audioed. It
has to be.
It has to be him.
Has
to be him. Or you can maybe do Mark Thompson with his Lando. It has to be Lando. Like it has to be.
I mean, I don't know a Star Wars fan. A Star Wars fan, let's say 40 and above, who wouldn't say, I'm going to sit back and just maybe put a cape on and listen to Billy D talk about his years in Star Wars. I mean, we even got an inside Billy D story from Femi Taylor. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Where she said he came up to her and said, talking about, I knew we had to have another dark person in here. Remember that? She actually told us that story.
Yeah, she said that in our interview. Yes.
I knew there was another person in here that was, I mean...
As much as I would love to hear him talk about Star Wars, I'd like to hear him talk about Batman too.
Well, maybe it's all in there.
Yeah. I mean, everybody forgets that he was in that, that first Batman movie.
Yes, he was Harvey Dent. He would have turned into Two-Face. Yes. Come on, Billy D. Billy D is as cool as the other side of the pillow. That's all there is to it. So
why did I know you were going there when you said cool? Like, I knew your tagline as soon as you said he's as cool. I knew you were going to go as the other side of the pillow.
Well, you know what? If I could find a way to get Billy D as a guest on this show, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would just say, Billy D, here's an hour. Go talk. We'll listen. That would be absolutely awesome. We have some things to look forward to this year, guys. 2024. It is the 10-year anniversary of Star Wars Rebels. 10 years ago started. Mm-hmm. Crazy to think about. We were getting the Cowboy Jedi, right? With Kanan Jarrus, or was that what he was called before we saw him and knew him? So 10 years.
You had Space Aladdin with
Aladdin. 10 years with Rebels. 25 years with The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace.
And this one got me 40 years for the Ewoks Caravan of Courage movie.
Classic.
So, classic. Absolutely.
D-Doc, have you watched? That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Caravan of Courage, I have not seen.
It's on Disney Plus.
That's the real divide of Star Wars fans right there for me, is the people who got excited for the Caravan of Courage and the people that have no idea that it even exists, and those that have seen it and think it's terrible.
It's awful.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. But
we
terrible. Were so excited for it.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. You know, in England, it actually came out at the theaters.
Came out as a movie.
Theaters.
Yeah, Mark Newbold's told me over and over again. He's like, I cannot believe that you guys saw that on TV when we went rushing to the theaters.
And you know what? It might have been better if it was on the theaters, because I've had that conversation all the time. What did we say? Rebel Moon. It took me 4 days to get through Rebel Moon because it was on television. If that was in the theater, I might have had a different response to that movie.
The Dune movie that just came out, I watched it at work and I was like, how are people thinking this is so great? I can't hardly even listen to this thing because it's just like a loud French horn all the time throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, I didn't overly. I mean, it was okay, but it's not like I was like, man, I can't wait to see that again. That was, yeah. Anyway, here's an interesting one for you guys. If you had to put together the top 10 list of most disliked Star Wars characters, do you think you would be able to name some of the top 10? I'm going to start at number 10.
Do you have a list? Wait, hold on. Do you have a list?
I have a list. It's the top 10 most disliked.
Okay, so you already have a list, but I've been watching some TikTok people where they have asked some football players and they talk about like the top 5 rushers. So the three of us have to work out this answer.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, I guess, can we get some clarification? Live action, animation? Are we talking expanded universe?
These are all from movies.
And they just don't like how the character was written.
It was an article. It was an article I read. It was on like Dark Side or Fan something, whatever.
We gotta come up with that. We can come up with our justifications why we hate them.
You give me.
I just
10,
wanted to narrow it.
You start giving me names. I will I will mark them off the list as you go, and I'll tell you what we've hit, and I'll tell you a
Most
number once you tell me.
hated?
Most disliked.
Most
Rose Tico.
disliked.
Is that the first one you're throwing out there?
Sure.
Rose
Yeah, let's do
Tico.
it.
She is number 3 on the top
Okay.
10 list.
I don't like.
Brent, you got to put your guy out there.
Who
gotta
are
put
you
him
talking
out
about?
there.
Jar Jar? I
Put
love
him out
Jar
there.
Jar.
You know he's on the
fine.
list.
He's got to be. Well, see, the thing is, like, again, time heals all wounds.
I love Jar Jar too.
I'm a
Jar
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 guy.
fan. I'm a Jar Jar fan.
But I'm gonna throw it out, and I hope he's not on there. I hope this is our first X.
Jar Jar was number 1.
DJ.
The Codebreaker?
He did not make the top 10.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
He's a good one though. He is like
Hux?
You know, and he really wouldn't be that bad if he wasn't played by Benicio del Toro.
I don't think it'd been that bad if they would have come up with a different.
There's hyperspace with Hux as well.
If they would have come up with a different gimmick, his stuttering gimmick was terrible.
Hux was number 7.
Okay, so there's a lot of sequel trilogy here, people. I mean, I feel like I don't like the dude who was in the, and I don't know, and you might help me, but like the guy who said your sad devotion to that ancient religion hasn't given you the clairvoyance enough to conjure up stolen data tapes. I hate
Not
that
on
dude.
it.
I hate that dude.
I dislike him as well, but he
I
is
mean,
not on
it
there.
all depends on how toxic this list is, because Rey
Yeah.
could technically be on this.
Yeah, or Anakin Skywalker. I would say Anakin Skywalker.
No.
Okay, well, Alfie, you get a 2-for-1 combo. Ranked number 5, young Anakin Skywalker, played by Jake Lloyd.
Oh, the Jake
And
Lloyd
then
one?
Jake
Okay.
Attack of the
Lloyd.
Clones, Anakin Skywalker.
Number 2, older Anakin Skywalker, number 2. So 5 and 2.
Damn, Hayden Christensen got number 2 as most.
Which, by the way, I've been reaching out to Jake Lloyd people and everything. Anything I can find, no response from Jake Lloyd. I would love
I'm
to have him
not
on
the
the show.
only one. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't particularly care for Attack of the Clones Anakin either.
I will
The
say
the Sith Anakin is a completely different story.
You've got 5 out of the 10 taken care of right now.
So we got Rose Tico. So go through the numbers as well.
People might hate Pelly as well.
Pelimoto?
Pelimoto.
I think she's.
I have seen some hate for her on Twitter before.
So right now you have number 1, number 2, and number 3 taken care of. Jar Jar, older Anakin, Rose Tico. You have number 5 taken care of with young Anakin Skywalker, and number 7 with General Hux.
Old Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, Hermit Crab Luke.
That's surprising.
Is Kylo Ren on the list?
No.
Okay, it's not too toxic then. It's not like pulling main characters.
Did you
and
get our
crap.
Hux? Because there's been a couple Hux.
Mhm.
D-Dox
No,
through
it
Hux.
is.
Hux is not on at all.
Hux is number 7.
Oh, okay, so towards the bottom. Okay, I didn't hear that.
I will let you know.
Is there anyone from the Mandoverse? Because what, like Cyril?
No, it's all movies.
Okay, it's all movies. Okay.
Oh yeah, Joe said that. Why don't I even remember that? All movies.
Who's Perrin?
No,
Because
no,
Hyperspace threw out Perrin, but I think he's Mandoverse.
no original trilogy people are on this list.
Yeah, because people love the original. Is Watto on the list? Because of
Watto is not.
Mind
Hyperspace
tricks
Heroes.
don't work on Targaryens.
Hyperspace
Only
Heroes
money.
fits it. Number 4.
Holdo. Yeah, people hate the Holdo.
Number 4.
They hate Holdo.
Again,
So now
another
you have-
waste of a great actress.
Yep. Love Laura Dern. I think she's great.
Yeah.
She's a very good actress. I think she does great in the Jurassic movies. I thought she was fine in those movies.
Yeah.
The scene was cool when she did crash into the other ship, though. I will admit that.
Come on. There's no autopilot. You couldn't have used a droid.
This is all true, Alfie. This is all true.
We have 2.
Are
no,
any
let's
of
see.
the Nemoidians in there?
No.
Really?
Yep.
Any
What is
more
his name?
Gungans? Is
You have one more sequel trilogy character.
Boss Nest. Come on. Boss Nest.
We have one more prequel, one more sequel,
Listen no light the Naboo.
one from Rogue One, and one from the Solo movie.
So big.
one from
One
Rogue
from
One?
Rogue One?
Yeah. This is the most disliked It doesn't say they hate him. They just didn't like.
I don't dislike a single crew member of Rogue One, so whoever it is probably going to bother me.
Krennic's the only one that you would like. I feel like Saw Gerrera, he was annoying.
No. What? Now I will have to go look this up, and I will tweet out the.
It's not Bodhi, is it? The pilot?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to help you here. Here we go. We get number 10. This is the only other prequel character that's on the list. Number 10, Mace Windu.
What?
Yep. Really? Number 9. Number 9 is from the Solo movie. One of my favorites, especially in Last Christmas, Kira.
Really?
They thought she was a backstabber, I'm sure.
So here's the thing. Like, we got to trust the source or not trust the source. It's probably just one of these guys sitting around like us, or females sitting around like us, and just has the nerve to write this article and just happens to have a platform to publish it and somebody reads it. There's probably no scientific data that goes into this. It's just something that this person has collected.
No, I could actually see Kira, because there were quite a few comments that I read that people really disliked that Han Solo loves someone other than Leia.
And I think, and she kind of turned on him, and she didn't necessarily support him.
Yes.
I do think that helps his storyline with Leia, though, because it showed that he could fall in love again, though. Like, that's where I kind of read into that, was like Leia, like he finally found love again in Leia. Like, you know, you're gonna have a girlfriend or whatever before at some point. Like, you know, look at Han Solo. The guy was a stud. You think he wasn't gonna have any other girls going after him? Come on.
He was a stud.
He was. Young Harrison Ford, give me a break. I think women still like old Harrison Ford.
I think I've got it right here. Hold on a second.
Let's just go through the list, Joe. You don't have to look up who the author is.
Number 8.
I was just making my point is why I don't like the list. But go ahead.
That's okay. Hey, I just grabbed it. I thought it'd be fun to have the conversation. Number 8, Jyn Erso.
Yeah, I mean,
what?
Get the F out of here with that.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on this one.
That's some clown stuff right there.
And number 6, Snoke.
And so what out of the 10, what do we have? 6 sequel trilogy characters?
Let's see, we had Jar Jar 1, older Anakin 2, Rose Tico 3, Holdo 4, young Anakin 5, Snoke 6, Hux 7, Jyn Erso 8, Kira 9, Mace Windu 10.
So only 4 of this 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. It was either like Comic Book Review or like the Dork Side, whatever, one of those two. But I just saw it and I thought it'd be fun.
They're dorks. It's okay.
I like Mace Windu, but then again, I could see why a lot of people dislike him, because like if
they treated Anakin because he was the one that was he was the one that was mean to Anakin.
It wasn't just that he was mean. It's just, and
he was mean
again,
to
this
Anakin
isn't fair because we said it was live action, but you know, you go to the Clone Wars episode, if he would just have been like listen to Ahsoka for 30 seconds, the whole thing could have been prevented. But then the story doesn't happen. So Mace Windu had to be that way for a certain reason.
Yep.
So I give his character a pass.
And Samuel L. Jackson killed it at that role too, to be that guy who had to do that to him. So it's like you can hate him for what he did to Anakin, but it was necessary to the story.
Mace Windu was mean to Anakin Skywalker in our chat earlier during the podcast.
Yeah. It's just the way Mace is. You know, it's going to be really cool to see Mace back in the Rey movie. That's going to be cool.
I can't wait for that.
I mean, he did fall. What was Matt's fall? Anybody who falls from like over 1,000 feet.
Yep.
Survived.
I mean, he only got his arm cut off. Luke Skywalker and Anakin have shown us that you can survive from that. And, for all we know, Mace could have done a little flip and grabbed onto a ledge and gotten that arm fixed up real quick, because we got people getting stabbed in the gut and then being good 2 days later now.
Fennec got blasted in the gut and was laying for dead on the floor of Tatooine before she got modded up in the stomach.
And then they were like, why the F did we kill Ming-Na Wen off in the first season of our
Exactly. Hey, I've got one more question for you guys, and we'll break it down for the evening because we've been going for a little while here. Bad Batch Season 3 is going to be coming out this year, which I'm looking forward to. I actually enjoy Bad Batch. I think it's got some good storylines, some good characters, all that. Plus, I just like, as Brent always says, that it hits in the sweet spot, right? It's after 3, before 4. Everybody wants to know what's going on in that jumbled mess there. So Bad Batch is coming out. Do we think Bad Batch is going to end like Rogue One?
Of course. Let me just put it this way. If it doesn't end like Rogue One, I'm going to be so pissed off, because I really was excited for this series, because Bad Batch themselves was an awesome idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then through 2 seasons, we've gotten maybe like 4 episodes out of how many where they were actually like the Bad Batch, and it was awesome. And the rest has just been utter crap. I think this is, I hate to say it, but I think this was one of Filoni's misses on this series. I don't understand the direction. I think it was just so much fluff, and them doing the jobs for Sid or whoever, it was just very wasted potential. I've never rewatched any of it, and I've had no desire to. And honestly, I can't tell you much of what has happened, because I just did not find this series interesting at all.
Okay. But you do think it should end like Rogue One? They should all...
I think it should finally be like the Bad Batch series.
Okay.
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. I kind of do like the Bad Batch, but part of that is because it's newer animation that I didn't get into the animation until around the time when I started coming on with you guys, and as the podcast was going, when the Bad Batch came out. And I do like Tech, and I like Wrecker, and I was sad when Tech died last season, which if he's still alive, that's when they're going to start to lose me, because if he died, just let him die. Like, that's it. Like, because it was good. It was a good send off, and I will start to have issues if he's still alive. Okay. But I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't know where any of it's going. I agree. I do agree with Alfie. I'm entertained by the Bad Batch, but if you were to ask me like what it's leading to, I don't know.
Well, we've got Mount Tantus coming up. We've got Omega and her sister, who are both clones of Jango. We've got,
and that's all great stuff. There's great stuff in the series, but you really only need to watch the first episode, the middle episode, and the last episode of each season.
Nice. Okay. Brent, what you say, boy?
The only thing I have to say is to take it back to the initial idea of Rogue One, and I'm assuming you're saying they're going to blow up all the clones on Boca Raton. I thought all the Jedi were killed in Order 66. But here we find out over the course of 30-some years that no. Oh my gosh, we got the book, your Boca Raton. He had it still up.
I've got that.
I love when the reference comes up and you just pull up the Boca Raton. Anyway,
that's 1-800-ORDER-66. 1-800-ORDER-66.
So I thought all of them had died in Order 66. So I was ready to write off all the Jedi.
You didn't necessarily watch episode 4.
Which episode 4?
Well, because Obi-Wan Kenobi's still alive.
Okay. So they showed the ones that survived, which would be Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Right.
Okay. Minus those 2 biggies.
Well, that's just different than what you just said. You said
okay, so you're being technical here, sir. I thought all the insignificant Jedi that have been popping their heads up had died. what I mean by that, Kaden Jarrett, Caleb Dune. I never had any idea who he was, but I assumed that he was dead. Shakti. I mean, dead, right? I'm thinking, who's the guy that in Obi-Wan? I know she was dead, but the one
Quinlan
in Obi-Wan. Not well. Do we know if Quinlan Voss is dead or not? He could show back up.
His name was on the wall in Kenobi.
But that doesn't mean that he was dead. That means he was.
No. I'm strengthening your argument here.
You're saying the guy who was with the Inquisitors at the beginning.
That's what I'm talking about. When the Inquisitors was hunting him down, smelling him out, shot the blaster, and he held it back at somebody, and then he runs and hides, and Obi-Wan tells him to give it up because there's nothing left. That dude, like that insignificant, like Jedi, those insignificant Jedi, I thought were all gone. And here we find out, no, they're not all gone. So my thing is like, just because we haven't seen them as retired clones doesn't mean that they're not still existing in the universe. So I don't necessarily think Boca Raton is going to get blown up.
Okay.
Well, we know just from the stories in the Clone Wars and Rebels that there are clones that defected from the Grand Republic and are out in, the galaxy. I think I have just as much issue with you as the surviving Jedi that always pops up. But then again, we're talking like less than 1% of the Jedi Order that survived. I don't really think that is hard to believe, but then again, it's also hard to believe that they always pop up in the main story that's going on.
And I mean, what do you got? You got Wolf and Rex and in Rebels that like are old and fat and crazy, walking around hunting for worms and using Lasats as fishing lures.
I think what we have to remember is that they were dead by the time of episode 4. And yes, I think.
But Rex wasn't, right? So essentially.
No, I'm talking about the Jedi.
Oh, the Jedi.
Yeah. And I know now Ahsoka makes it through, but.
Right. So Ahsoka's in a different world or a different time, different location, just not involved in the storyline.
Yeah, and Rex
because she gave
up
on
rebellion and all the way to Endor.
And with each one of these new Jedis that pop their head up and the timeline gets screwy and we don't know, it weakens my favorite character's line. No, there is another. Like, okay, there's probably more than one other. Like we always thought he was Cerebro and thought he could have communications with everybody, but he's not fully Cerebro.
Right. But I also think, I know we're digging into this too deep and we're trying to end this, but I think that more is there's another that's significant. That could be the one to take down the Emperor and Vader. Yes, there's lots of, even Kanan Jarrus, as much as we like that character, he was just a Padawan. He was never a knight, let alone a master. He never
but then
would have gone that far into what they wanted, what they were trying to get through Luke or possibly Leia.
But I think Ezra was getting to become one of the more powerful. I think Ezra had the potential, and yes, he was the one that was training him, but like he had the potential to overcome and be a powerful Jedi to help unite. He
had the potential, but as we have to remember that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda are very short-sighted, and they only saw that Luke or Leia could be the one. And that's why they were defeated by Darth Sidious, and the Jedi Order was all but destroyed, and Order 66 happened. The Empire rose because they're very short-sighted.
They were clouded. Their judgment was clouded by the dark side.
Yeah, and they were too arrogant to admit that and try to find a way around it.
And so was Mace Windu, and that's why he's one of the most disliked characters in Star Wars.
Right, but you need Mace Windu, and you need to dislike him.
You do. Sometimes you need.
And I think some of that list, you do need those. You need to have dislikable characters. You need to have the villains. The Patriot, the guy who was in the Patriot, you need to have
Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
I think it's very fair to say that you dislike Hux, because I think most people in The Force Awakens really liked Hux. He seemed like a good bad guy, and then you turn him into a joke.
I dislike what they did to him. I don't dislike Hux. I like Hux in Force Awakens, and I thought he had the potential to be something more or deeper or darker.
Yes. I would say, I think you're right. Some of that list are people you have to dislike. You have to dislike them for the story to move forward.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And
having Anakin talk in a really weird Shakespearean way that just seems really cringy. I get why people dislike that, but it was important to dislike Mace Windu for the story to progress.
Yep. Agreed.
I'm just looking through my old banners after I shared Boca
Wow.
Raton, and this is my favorite one.
Okay, that's how we're ending the show.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's right.
We're supposed to do that
guys.
right at the beginning of this. Did we
We
do
are.
that at the beginning of
Yes,
this?
we are. Yeah,
Because
we gotta add that in.
if you lived through the hour and 40 minutes of this podcast, you're still here. Please like and subscribe to help grow the channel. It lets us know that people are listening. Just do all that like and subscribe stuff. Share the word. Share it. Do all that stuff. Hit the bell to get notified when we become live or when we drop a new one.
That's right. That's right. And also go buy what kind of khakis again?
Mountain khaki. Mountain.
Oh, mountain khakis.
And hey, dude, bidets or something like that. Yeah.
I've got a new deal coming up. Actually, I've got a new one coming up for safety glasses. So we'll promote that.
Can you get us some of those? I want to do the show in safety glasses.
They're sunglasses too. So it's
really
they double up. It's called Bomb Squad.
Yeah,
Bomber Squad or something like that.
It makes me so angry because I cannot wear sunglasses at work. They changed to that really bright LED lighting everywhere, and I suffer from migraines as it is. And to wear sunglasses,
well, these are safety glasses that double as sunglasses.
Yeah, I'd have to fill out disability paperwork, and I was like, I'm not doing that. That's
well, all right, okay. Hey, real quick, just a quick side note to let everyone know. Giuseppe Franco Molinaro was born January 19th, 1881. My great-grandfather who came across from Italy. So I'll be celebrating his birthday this weekend. His 143rd birthday would have been this weekend. So just missed out on meeting him. But if I was John Tyler's, if I was John Tyler's,
that's what I like to call bringing it back. Circling on back to the beginning of the show.
Brent and I will see each other tomorrow night in trivia. D-Doc, you got anything to close the show? Alfie, Brent, anybody?
I can't say anything else, or we're going to go on another tangent.
Yeah,
just
end this thing, please.
Just that it's enjoyable to be
land the plane.
The Galaxy podcast for another.
We will, as Alfie says, we will land the plane next week. Hopefully, cross your fingers it all works right. We'll get a link over to Nika Futterman. We'll have her on the show. It'll be fun. Send us
bless
questions.
her heart.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I know. I'll have to add another layout to my freaking 15 that I already have on here. No, I already probably have one.
No, she doesn't. All right. Until next. Oh, by the way, Mark Thompson's going to be with us in February. I got that right here. So yeah, Mark Thompson's great. Until next week, and I'll have more future guests coming up then. May the force be with you.